So once in a while I'll kind of get this topic. The question is, should I screen print my own t-shirts? Now, I'm going to start with my straight up answer. For the vast majority of you guys that are watching my channel, that is a startup company, I would say no. As you guys know, I own my own screen printing shop. I own Union Prints Co. out here in Vista, California. It's a huge operation. We have 5 autos. Our partner has over 25 years of experience just screen printing. He's built other screen printing shops. It's one of the reasons that I stayed in California close to my family. So I'm partnered into screen printing. Prior to that point, one of my partners, JJ, I was his art director in his shop, Lifework, for several years. Now the reason that I met JJ is because I was trying to learn how to screen print because I was thinking of screen printing my own tees. Also, the art part of me that likes to work with my hands and learn about the craft was enamored with the idea of having a shop set up in my own little space. But very quickly, after working at Lifework, I would say 2 months after working in there, I knew that it was the last thing that I wanted to do. I'm going to tell you why. So these are the reasons I think some of you startup brands should not really take this route of screen printing your own tees. Number one, it's very, very technical and time consuming. There's people on it who have put in more than 15 years of work knowing how to screen print, and there's a lot of technical issues from creating the artwork correctly, doing the right color separations, burning the screen. A lot of people mess up when it comes time to burn the screen, and sometimes you won't know till you start printing, which is terrible, because if you've done all that work and you know the process and something goes wrong once you have the screen on the press, I mean, there's no other way to ruin your day. So once you've learned all of that, just to make your own shirts, you kind of have to weigh the idea of how much work it is just so that you can produce 30 to 50 shirts a couple dollars cheaper. Or maybe that's part of your plan. You're like, I'm going to have a screen printing shop and that's going to help me with my clothing line. I just want to bring up that that's a whole nother business that you're doing. Now, if you have everything balanced and you're like, we're only going to take X amount of customers, or say you already have 2 or 3 to 5 or 10 customers that are set up and you're like, I'm going to stop there. That's one thing. You can manage it however you want. But I think the tendency for a lot of people, once they see money and they see things going in a good direction, they might kind of take off with that business and completely forget about their clothing line. Or if you try to do both but you don't have proper balance, it's going to drive you insane. And I guarantee at the end of the day, especially when mistakes happen, you're going to say, man, I don't think any of this is worth it. I think part of the faultiness in that is you're not clear enough and focused enough on your set path to really gauge the results in a very clinical manner, to see what kind of results you're getting, because you have to remember your focus is spread into a couple different places. Now, screen printing alone as one business, as one focus, already has so many different elements and moving parts that need to be monitored and managed. To have a successful standalone screen printing shop takes a lot of work. And there's a couple clothing lines that have been birthed from a successful screen printing shop and then foraying into a clothing line. That's a lot easier transition. If you're a startup clothing company and you're like, man, we can make these t-shirts a lot cheaper by just producing them ourselves, I would just take heed and caution, do a lot of research. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying most people should not do it. Because along with a lot of the videos that I talk about on designer advice, is starting to familiarize you guys and get you guys to know what you don't know. A lot of my journey through apparel and fashion has been learning what I don't know. If you figure out what those odds are and what those numbers are and what those look like, and you've done your due diligence in terms of your research, and you know what that looks like, and you're able to take it on or find a smarter path in order to create all those real goals, then maybe you should go for it. But remember, if the actual problem solving is just creating cheaper t-shirts, if you find a way to increase the distribution of your product, right there you can make more t-shirts and create a better margin, and it won't hurt you. And that way you never buy a piece of equipment that's going to stay in your garage for years and years, and then you're just going to flip it and sell it on Craigslist. People alone who just go out to start a screen printing shop have failed many times over. Trust me on this. So counting the experiences recently, it's right under 4 years that I've been around screen printing, and I know that I'm still learning at this point, and I've definitely seen a huge graveyard of screen printing shops. So if you use that to your advantage and are just able to market and sell, and get your t-shirts to the point where you're ordering enough units, you can turn that to an advantage, and you can deal with a lot of screen printers who know what they're doing, will give you better pricing. That's where the win-win is, guys. That's why I keep saying sell, because if you're able to give people 800-piece orders, 1,000-piece orders, now you're dealing with some real volume, and you could get that price really low, and you'd have the greatest margin ever without never having to touch any kind of plastisol or water-based ink on a screen. So for the vast majority, I would say no, don't screen print your own t-shirts. This is a big topic, so any comments, any questions, drop them down below. Any direct messages or specific questions you want to ask, please hit me on Facebook /designer Jon Phenom. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.